The biggest difference being here that these are loaded with protein, 9.5 out of 10. Welcome back to the Anabolic Hub, where we make anabolic deliciousness. We're back inside my kitchen today, and we're doing another original recipe. Fall has arrived, it's here, which means it is apple season, which means it is apple cider season, which means it is apple cider donut season. And what does that mean? That means that when you go apple picking, perhaps you might have a place that also happens to offer apple cider donuts. They smell delicious, they look delicious, and my God, do they taste delicious. Only problem is they're usually loaded with fat, loaded with sugar, and are gonna have you feeling awful and guilty for the rest of the day. This changes the ball game here. What we're going to be doing is making a high protein, lower calorie apple cider donut that is going to be guilt-free and keep you on your way to achieving your fitness goals. It is definitely going to be ideal for any weight loss plan, any shredding plan, and definitely any main gaining plan. So, with no further ado, let's get things started by having a look at the ingredients. Here we go. All-purpose flour, vanilla-based casein protein powder, swerve, granular, baking powder, baking soda, cream of tartar, the one ingredient to rule them all, salt, ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg. I can't believe it's not butter, the light one. Plain non-fat Greek yogurt, vanilla extract, unsweetened almond milk, and of course, apple cider. And you guessed it, this is another one of those magical recipes where we're mixing together some dry ingredients, mixing together some wet ingredients, and we're combining the two for some anabolic deliciousness. So let's get things started here by mixing together our dry ingredients first. First dry ingredient is going to be 110 grams of our all-purpose flour. Next dry ingredient is going to be 99 grams of our vanilla-based casein protein powder. Yes, 99 grams, not 100. And no, you should not use whey for this recipe. Trust me, I've used whey in donut recipes before. They come out dry, the batter's too soupy, totally unsatisfying. Vanilla-based casein protein powder, 99 grams, going in. Next is 40 grams of your Swerve granular or any zero-calorie sweetener. Then it's 7 grams of the baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. But we'll get to the baking soda in a second. Then we need but 1 gram of our baking soda. 2 grams of the salt. 3 grams of your cream of tartar, 8 grams of your ground cinnamon, and 1 gram of nutmeg. And now that we have all of our dry ingredients in the bowl, the next step is to mix or sift them all together. And as always, don't sleep on the sifting. We want to get all of that baking powder, baking soda, and the rest of the dry ingredients well dispersed amongst each other. You don't want some of these donuts tasting too awesome and some of them tasting underwhelmingly unawesome. So sift them together. Next up, we move on to the wet ingredients. The first one is going to be 28 grams of the I can't believe it's not butter, the light one, or any light butter. And as you saw, I put the 28 grams of the light butter into this microwave safe container. Going to microwave it for 10 seconds just to soften / melt it a little bit so that it mixes together with the rest of the wet ingredients a little bit easier. Our next wet ingredient is going to be 140 grams of the plain non-fat Greek yogurt, negative scale measuring system. And with that little bit left there on the spoon, we have 140 grams of the plain non-fat Greek yogurt. Exactly. Next is 4 grams of the vanilla extract.
Just wanted to break in real quick here to remind you to smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed. And why don't you tell me in the comments section if we weren't bothering to count the calories. Put the number of donut emojis that you could have in a sitting comment section. All right, let's get back to the video.
Then we need 144 grams of our apple cider. If you can't find apple cider, you can try using apple juice. It works almost as well, but I highly recommend if you can find apple cider, you use that. There is a distinct difference in flavor, but if you can only find apple juice, it'll get the job done. But I recommend, obviously, apple cider donuts. We want to use apple cider. And after you have those wet ingredients in there, you just want to give them a quick mix to try to disperse as much as you can all around. And once you have something that looks like that with a few chunks of Greek yogurt, which is totally fine, you're good. Now it's time to add in our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients, which we're going to do in 3 separate batches. Batch number 1. Batch number 2. And of course, batch number 3. And as you'll likely find out after you've mixed until you think you've mixed enough, and then you've mixed even some more, your dough is still a little bit dry. So that means we need to add in some almond milk. How much you use is going to greatly depend on the brand of casein protein powder that you used. Some absorb more than others. I know for me it's about 100 grams of the almond milk that does it for me, but I recommend adding in a little bit at a time, 25 to 50 grams at the most at a time, because you can always put more in, but you can't take any out. And once you have this moist consistency here, you know that you have put in enough almond milk and you're ready to go on to the next step, which is going to be adding our batter into our donut tray. So I have my 6 donut tray right in front of me here. These are 3.5 inch in diameter donuts. In case you're wondering, that's the size for this pan. I'm gonna be making 6 of them. We're gonna be spraying on some non-stick cooking spray, because the last thing you want is for these things to stick to the tray, then they will be completely ruined. And we of course don't want that to happen. So high capacity non-stick cooking spray loaded, fire away. And the easiest way to get this process started is to dip your fingertips into a little bit of the water to make the dough a little bit easier to handle. Grab a bunch of the dough in your hand and then kind of roll it out into a mini log. Kind of work it out so that the diameter is nice and even. Then you're gonna slide it into your donut tray. Like so. And we will do the rest with the other 5. Now you may find that after you fill your donut tray that you have a little bit of batter left. That may happen. It's totally going to depend on the depth of your donuts, even if they're 3.5 inches in diameter. Some go a little bit deeper than others. Remember when you're filling this that you want to go about 1/2 to 3/4 of the way up, where they're just going to expand up and over the pan, and just the bottom's going to look like a donut and the top's going to look like a pastry. But nonetheless, I digress a little bit there. If you're left with a little bit of batter, don't worry about it. You can either make more donuts, or you can get creative with it, make some mini apple cider muffins or apple cider muffins or some donut holes. We're gonna attempt that right now. Grabbing our little muffin tray, hitting it with some nonstick. Then the same as you did before, you're just gonna use a different tray, make a different shape. How fun is that? And there you can see the 6 donuts. And I had enough batter left to make 7 donut holes. Probably could have made 2 more donuts out of this, but I only have 1 tray and this tray is available. So let's get creative. So we're gonna put both trays in at the same time. We're gonna bake it at 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 degrees Celsius for about 10 to 15 minutes, checking them along the way. Toothpick test works great here. Stick it into the center of the one closest to the middle. If it comes out clean, you're good. If you pull out some batter, try 1 or 2 more minutes longer and check it again. But with no further ado, let's get these into the oven so we can start baking. And I just took the donuts and the mini muffins out of the oven after exactly 13 minutes. We are finished cooking. They have inflated a little bit like all of our anabolic baked goods do. We're gonna let these cool off just till they're no longer hot to the touch. Then we're gonna put them into our sugar cinnamon coating. Of course, we're not gonna use real sugar, we're gonna use Swerve. And then take them over to the taste test table. Speaking of the coating, just so everybody knows, I put in 50 grams of our Swerve granular and 6 grams of our ground cinnamon and then mix them thoroughly together, and that is what I have, and that is going to give our apple cider donuts and mini muffins a fantastic sweetness. Gonna wait for them to cool off a bit more, put on our coating, and you know where we're headed. We're back at the taste test table yet again to try another magnificent anabolic high protein recipe, and today it's donuts. We can't complain. How bad could a donut be? You're right, it can't be bad at all because a donut is fantastic, especially this one. Apple cider donuts are one of my absolute favorites this time of year. Love having them, brings back so many childhood memories, and they're just so friggin' delicious. This version is guilt-free, and I am so excited for you guys to try it. I hope you do. These are phenomenal. We have our little bonus treat right over here, our little mini muffins slash donut holes that we have right there that we used. We could have easily probably gotten another 2 donuts at least out of what we had here. I didn't want to wait to come over to the taste test table to reuse my donut tray, so I just improvised a little bit and I made these. And man, so excited for this taste test. You have no idea. Let's go. First bite, best bite, always with this apple cider donut. Here we go. Oh, so delicious. If you've ever had an apple cider donut before, this is 9.5 out of 10 comparison to what that actually tastes like. The biggest difference being here that these are loaded with protein, and there is not nearly as much fat, and there is no sugar essentially because we're using the Swerve. This is a fantastic snack. Talk about guilt-free donuts. You could easily have 2 of these and they can replace any snack that you're having right now. I always say have these instead of a protein bar, because unless you're having an Anabar, which is friggin' delicious, the rest are basically like eating chalk, and you'd much rather have a donut that tastes this good than you would that. The texture is the same as a regular apple cider donut. The flavor is spot on. Oh man, if you like donuts, it's easily going to get you to your next meal. It's gonna kill any donut craving that you might have. Something like this is actually going to get better and better as the days go on. The best way to store these is to put them into an airtight container and put them into the refrigerator. They will last the longest. The texture will get better. The flavor is only going to intensify. You're gonna have yourself one of the best snacks you could possibly have. Ready to go, grab and go. No chance of you reaching for something bad when you know you can have this and it's completely guilt-free. I actually like the mini muffin donut idea. You can control the calories even more when you have a smaller portion like this. Plus, I always find that when you have something in a smaller portion size that you have to keep going back for and eating, kind of like a bag of chips, but way more delicious, it just feels like you're eating more. It could be the same size. So I would say maybe 3 of these equal 1 of these donuts. But you have to have 3 of them and you see 3 pieces in whatever you're carrying them around with you in, just feels like you're getting more. It's a psychological thing. Maybe it's just me. Does that happen for you? Let me know in the comment section down below. Does having more pieces of something make you feel like you're eating more? Let's discuss. I'll flash up the macros here so you can see what's in the entire recipe, and if you decide to break them out into a certain number of donuts, this is what's in it here. As you can see, loaded with protein. The calorie count is way lower than what a normal apple cider donut would be. It's an absolute no-brainer of a snack. Whew. But it's getting to be about that time. I gotta get up out of here, so I'll see you in the next one. Bye.